The night was as dark as a rock star's leather jacket. Thunder clapped outside like a giant drummer doing a solo in the sky. Rain hammered against the windows of the old Blackwood Manor, a place so spooky it made Halloween look like a Tuesday. But was Bartholomew Barty Butterfield scared? Nah, well, maybe a little. He pushed open the giant oak door, which groaned like a grumpy grandpa waking up from a nap. Barty, armed with his phone, a selfie stick, and a backpack full of snacks, stepped inside. His mission was legendary. His goal was epic. He was here to go viral. The air inside was thick and dusty, smelling of old books and forgotten secrets, and maybe a hint of old socks. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like ghostly party streamers. A suit of armor stood in the corner, looking like it was about to challenge him to a dance-off. Barty flicked on his phone's flashlight, its beam cutting through the gloom. "All right, followers," he whispered to his phone, which was already recording. "Barty here, coming at you live from the spookiest mansion in town. We're about to make history, find some treasure, and probably eat some chips. Hit that like button if you're ready for the adventure to begin." This wasn't just any old creepy house. Legend said Blackwood Manor was home to something magical, something fruity, something that could make him the most famous influencer on the planet. He tiptoed across the creaky floorboards, each step echoing like a drumbeat in the vast, silent hall. A flash of lightning lit up the room, revealing portraits with eyes that seemed to follow him. Barty just grinned and gave them a little wave. He wasn't afraid of a few painted old dudes. He'd faced worse things, like the school cafeteria's mystery meatloaf. This was his stage, and he was ready to put on the show of a lifetime. He adjusted his backpack, the crinkling sound of his chip bag the only friendly noise in the place. "Okay, mansion," Barty said to the empty hall, his voice bouncing off the high ceilings. "Show me what you've got. I'm ready for puzzles, ghosts, and whatever weirdness you can throw at me." He took a deep breath, puffed out his chest, and marched forward into the darkness. His quest had officially begun. The mansion seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what this kid with a phone and a bag of cheese puffs would do next. The adventure was on, and it was going to be totally awesome. So why was Barty in this creepy, crawly castle of creakiness? It wasn't for gold or jewels, nope. He was after something way cooler, something legendary. He was on a quest for the Piffle-Whiffle perfect pineapple. According to a weird old blog he found online, this wasn't just any pineapple, it was a magical pineapple that granted its finder eternal youth. Or maybe it was eternal fame. The blog was a little fuzzy on the details, but either way, Barty knew that finding it would launch his social media career into the stratosphere. He would be more famous than cats playing pianos. The legend of the Piffle-Whiffle pineapple was whispered all over the internet. It was said to glow with a gentle golden light and hum a catchy tune. Some said it tasted like sunshine and cotton candy. Others claimed it could tell amazing jokes. For Barty, it was the ultimate prop, the key to unlocking millions of followers. Imagine the TikToks, unboxing a magical pineapple, it glows, or trying to eat an immortal fruit. Gone wrong. The views would be incredible. He could almost hear the sound of notifications flooding his phone. Fame was so close he could almost taste it, and he hoped it tasted like pineapple. He pulled out a crumpled map he'd printed from that same weird blog. It was less of a map and more of a doodle with a big X marked in a room labeled The Green Place with glass walls. Barty figured that meant a greenhouse or a conservatory, but to get there, he had to navigate the mansion's tricks and traps. The blog mentioned riddles, puzzles, and maybe a grumpy ghost or two. Barty wasn't worried. He had his secret weapon ready, a seemingly endless supply of snacks. He believed that no puzzle was too hard and no ghost was too grumpy to be swayed by a well-timed offering of a cookie. With his goal firmly in mind, Barty felt a surge of energy. This was more exciting than any video game. This was real life. He was the hero of his own story, the star of his own live stream. "All right, Piffle-Whiffle," he muttered, looking down the long, dark corridor ahead. "Wherever you are, get ready for your close-up. Barty Butterfield is coming for you, and he's bringing the good vibes and the good snacks." He held his phone high, the light guiding him deeper into the mansion's mysterious heart, one snack-fueled step at a time. The pineapple awaited. Barty wandered into a long gallery lined with portraits. The faces in the paintings were stern and serious, with frilly collars and weird hats. As he walked past one, a painting of a girl with long dark hair and a mischievous smile, her painted eyes blinked. "Ahem," a voice coughed, sounding like old velvet. Barty froze, spinning around. Did you just talk?" he asked the painting. The girl in the portrait, Alara, rolled her eyes. "Well, I certainly didn't yodel," she said dryly. "It's been ages since we had a visitor who wasn't a spider. What's a noisy little fellow like you doing here?" Barty, never one to miss a social opportunity, immediately pointed his phone at her. "No way, a talking portrait, this is pure gold. Say hi to my followers, Alara." Alara looked confused. "Followers? Are you a king?" Barty laughed. "Even better, I'm an influencer. I'm here for the Piffle-Whiffle perfect pineapple." Alara's painted face lit up with interest. Ah, the glowing fruit, a noble quest indeed, but the path is filled with puzzles. The old master of this house loved games. You seem unprepared. She eyed his hoodie and snack-filled backpack with a hint of disdain. Unprepared? Pfft, Barty scoffed, digging into his backpack. I am totally prepared. He pulled out a slightly squashed, cream-filled pastry. See? Brain food. He held it up to the portrait. Want a bite? Alara's painted nose seemed to twitch. I haven't tasted a sweet cake in 300 years, she sighed wistfully. That is a cruel, cruel temptation. But your gesture is sweet. Perhaps you aren't entirely hopeless. The next room is the library, but be warned, it's guarded by a real bonehead. Barty thought she was being mean, but he would soon find out she meant it literally. Thanking Alara, Barty felt a new sense of confidence. He had faced his first supernatural encounter and not only survived but made a friend. A 300-year-old painted friend, but a friend nonetheless. Thanks for the tip, Alara, he called over his shoulder. I'll save you a piece of pineapple. He heard her laugh, a sound like rustling silk, as he continued down the hall. The mansion was weird, yes, but it was also kind of fun. He munched on his pastry, feeling ready for whatever bony guard the library had in store for him. Onward to adventure. Barty pushed open the heavy doors to the library and was met with a jaw-dropping sight. Bookshelves stretched up to the ceiling, crammed with thousands of books. In the center of the room, sitting at a large desk and reading a dusty tome, was a skeleton. A full-on, bone-rattling skeleton wearing a fancy top hat. The skeleton looked up, its empty eye sockets somehow looking annoyed. Do you mind? I was just getting to the good part. This detective is about to discover the butler did it. A classic. Barty once again aimed his phone. This was even better than a talking portrait. You must be the bonehead Alara told me about, Barty exclaimed. The skeleton, who introduced himself as Reginald, clacked his jaw indignantly. I am the librarian, and my head is made of perfectly fine bone, thank you very much. Now, state your purpose or be silent. This is a library after all. Barty explained his quest for the pineapple. Reginald nodded slowly. Ah, the Piffle-Whiffle. To pass, you must solve the library's riddle. You must find the book that speaks, but only in verse. Barty's eyes widened. A talking book? This place just kept getting weirder and cooler. He started wandering the aisles, running his fingers along the spines of ancient books. How am I supposed to find a talking book in all of this? He wondered aloud. Just then, he heard a faint voice from a nearby shelf. There once was a boy with a phone, it squeaked, who in a spooky mansion did roam. Barty spun around and located the source, a small, leather-bound book with a smiley face drawn on its cover in what looked like crayon. He picked it up and the book continued. He searched for a fruit, a grand, glowing loot, to make his influencer status known. Barty grinned. I found you. The book giggled. Indeed. Now, for me to let you pass, you must complete my final limerick. The book cleared its throat and recited, a skeleton named Reginald Bones loves sitting and reading on thrones. The book paused, waiting for Barty to finish. Barty thought for a moment, looked at Reginald, and then back at the book. He guards all the books and gives grumpy looks and complains in monotonal groans. The book shrieked with delight. Perfect. A hidden door behind a bookshelf clicked open, revealing a new passageway. Barty thanked the book and a now slightly less grumpy Reginald and stepped through. The secret passage led Barty into a grand dining hall. The long table was set for a feast that had ended centuries ago, covered in a thick layer of dust. Perched on the back of a grand chair was a large black raven, staring at him with intelligent, beady eyes. On the table in front of the raven was a shiny red apple. As Barty approached, the raven cawed, but the sound formed into words. Halt, seeker of the glowing prize, it squawked in a gravelly voice. To proceed, you must prove you are wise. Answer my riddle, and the way shall be shown. Fail, and you'll wander this manor alone. Barty was ready for this. He was a master of riddles, at least the ones on the back of juice boxes. Lay it on me, Birdbrain, he said, trying to sound cool. The raven ruffled its feathers, clearly not amused by the nickname. It then spoke its riddle. I have a face but no eyes, hands but no arms. I tell you something everyone wants more of but can never get back. What am I? Barty scratched his head. A face, hands but no eyes or arms? He looked around the room for clues, his eyes scanning the dusty walls and furniture. This was a tough one. He noticed a huge grandfather clock standing in the corner of the room, its pendulum still. It had a face with numbers, and two hands pointing to the time. Time! That was something everyone wanted more of but could never get back. It's a clock! Barty shouted triumphantly. The raven nodded its head in approval. Correct, your mind is sharper than it appears. But then, the shiny apple on the table spoke up in a crisp, clear voice. Not so fast. The raven's riddle is but one part of the key. You must now give me something I desire, a trade for the path you wish to see, a talking apple. Barty was starting to think everything in this house could talk. What does an apple want? he asked. The apple replied, I have sat on this dusty table for ages dreaming of a different crunch. I desire a companion, something savory, something salty to munch. Barty's face lit up. He knew exactly what to do. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a single, perfect, triangular tortilla chip. He placed it gently next to the apple. How's this? The apple wiggled with joy. Magnificent, a perfect pairing. A tapestry on the wall lifted, revealing a brightly lit doorway. Barty had passed the test. Barty stepped through the doorway and gasped. He was in a massive conservatory, a huge room made of glass walls and a high domed ceiling. Moonlight streamed in, illuminating an incredible jungle of exotic plants, flowers of every color and twisting vines. It was warm and humid, and the air smelled sweet, like honey and rain. In the very center of the room, on a pedestal of swirling stone, sat the Piffle-Whiffle perfect pineapple. It was even more amazing than the legends described. It glowed with a soft, pulsating golden light, and a faint, happy tune hummed from it, like a pop song you can't get out of your head. He approached it slowly, his phone held out to capture every magical moment. The pineapple was the size of a bowling ball, and its leaves were a vibrant, shimmering green. The golden light it emitted made the whole conservatory look like a magical fairyland. Whoa, Barty breathed, circling the pedestal. This is it, the ultimate prize. My followers are going to lose their minds. He could already picture the headlines. Barty Butterfield finds the secret to eternal fame. He was about to become a legend. He reached out his hand, ready to claim his fruity destiny. As his fingers got closer, the pineapple's humming grew louder, and its light grew brighter. He could feel a strange, tingly energy in the air, like static electricity before a lightning storm, but a happy, bubbly kind of storm. This was the moment of truth. He imagined himself never aging, staying a cool kid influencer forever, making viral videos for centuries to come. Or maybe he'd just be super famous. Either way, this pineapple was his golden ticket. He finally placed his hand on its rough, patterned skin. The energy surged through him, warm and fizzy. The light flared, momentarily blinding him. The humming tune reached a crescendo, a perfect pop melody that made him want to dance. When the light subsided, the pineapple was still there, glowing just as brightly. Barty felt exactly the same. He checked his hands, no magical glow. He checked his reflection in his phone screen, still the same old Barty. Huh? He said, confused. I don't feel eternally young, or eternally famous. Then, a tiny voice, squeaky and cheerful, piped up from the pineapple itself. That's because that's not what I do, silly. Barty stared at the pineapple. The pineapple stared back, though it didn't have eyes. You can talk? Barty stammered, lowering his phone for a second in sheer disbelief. Of course I can talk, the pineapple chirped. The name's Pip, and that whole eternal youth thing? Total myth. I think a grumpy ghost made that up to keep people away from his quiet napping spot. Barty was stunned. All this for nothing? No eternal youth? No guaranteed instant fame? He felt a pang of disappointment. His epic quest had a totally unexpected ending. So what do you do? Barty asked, feeling a little deflated. If you don't grant eternal youth, what's your magic power? Pip the pineapple wiggled on its pedestal. Well, when you touched me, I gave you a gift. A super cool, super unique power. Barty's eyes went wide. A superpower, this was even better. What is it? Can I fly? Do I have super strength? Pip chuckled, a sound like bubbles popping. Nope. You now have the amazing ability to talk to squirrels and understand their tiny chattering complaints about nuts and neighborhood cats. Barty blinked. He could talk to squirrels. That was his great reward. For a moment he was speechless. Then he started to laugh. It was the most ridiculous, absurd, and hilarious thing he had ever heard. He wasn't a timeless legend, he was a squirrel whisperer. He looked at Pip, then at his phone, which was still recording. He grinned. This wasn't a failure. This was content. This was better than any boring old eternal youth story. This was a talking pineapple named Pip, and a kid who could now argue with rodents. It was pure comedy gold. He picked up Pip, who hummed happily, and aimed the phone at both of them. Well, folks, Barty announced to his followers, the quest took a weird turn. Forget eternal youth. I got something better. He held up Pip. This is my new best friend Pip, the talking pineapple. And my new superpower is, well, it's nutty. The livestream chat exploded. His follower count skyrocketed. Barty and Pip became an overnight sensation, the weirdest and most wonderful duo on the internet. Their first viral video was Barty having a very serious debate with a squirrel about the best place to bury an acorn. And as they left the mansion, Pip whispered, "You know, I have a cousin who's a magical mango, living in a volcano." Barty just grinned. Their adventures were just getting started.